So now going forward, up next, we have our another speaker lined up. She is Dr. Kavya Shri Kumar. Let me add her to the board so that she can, present herself. So there we have Dr. Kavya Shri. Hi, Kavya. If you can join. Hi, Kavya. Hello. How are you
Good.
doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good too. So let's hear out from Dr. Kavya Sri Kumar. She is the founding chairwoman for Indian Women in 3D Printing. And today she'll be talking about need for creating additive manufacturing ecosystem for women in India. The floor is all yours. Kavya, feel free to share your presentation, thoughts,
Sure.
and we have a huge participants over here who are waiting for your presentation. Go ahead. Floor is all
That's
yours now.
fantastic.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Let me just share my PPT. One sec. Swati, is it visible?
For presentation,
Swati, is my
that's
screen? Is it visible?
yes, Kavya. We can see
Right.
your presentation. It's in full screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Thank you, Swati, for such kind words, and fantastic morning from India to all of you. Today, I will be talking about a very niche topic, which is the need for creating additive manufacturing ecosystem for women, especially in India. So, before I go about talking about it, let me brief you about what Indian Women in 3D Printing organization is all about. So this is where we are planning to have a platform which is open for all the women, female engineers as well as enthusiasts in 3D printing to innovate, to explore, to also initiate conversations in additive manufacturing in India. Because when we went around looking around for such a platform in India, that was kind of missing. So that is what we wanted to address to. So that's how IW3DP kind of emerged itself. But later through on, I'll talk to you about what we basically focus on. So before we go about, because my topic starts about the need for creating an ecosystem, I want to answer one question, which is what's the secret behind India's love affair with engineering, right? The engineering stream has been a very prominent part of India's educational system, right from right from the time pre to post independence era. So if you see, it has always been considered as a professional qualification in India, and more so it considers to be as a safety net in terms of career, and is also considered to be as a tool for social mobility. And the affinity to engineering stems from a culture in India which has given utmost importance to mathematical skills with amongst us. So as children itself, we have been imbibed in us saying maths is extremely important, and that's how the flair for professional education, especially engineering, has been emerged. And if you see, which has been the first professional society in India which has brought about engineers from various streams together, this was way back in 1920, where you saw the Institution of Engineers, which was established in Calcutta, and that is where engineers, irrespective of whichever stream they're coming from, whether it is civil, whether it is electrical engineering, or whether it is mechanical engineering, all of them came to one platform and discussed and deliberated more on on ideas regarding what is the current trends in engineering. So if I have to quote the importance of it, if you see, historian Daniel Click-Smith has written saying that post-independence India, engineers of India did not see themselves just as building dams, but also for nation building. So this was also kind of emphasized by our very own first Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, who emphasized on the modern nation with a scientific temper where engineers were the most important pillars of nation building. So from pre-independence association with having a government job, because engineers were the most preferred for government jobs, and also having high status, This combined with post-independence linked towards nation building. So this is what kind of gives an answer towards why it is the most obsessed profession within India. Right now, you will see medical and engineering takes the forefront. To answer few of the questions, what is the current status of engineering programs in India? How many women institutions exists exclusively for women in India, and how many students in India opt to pursue engineering as their career? So this is where I'll take you all to few of the statistics. So take for example, out of the total engineering colleges which are there, which is almost around 22,000 plus, you will see that hardly 3% of engineering colleges are exclusively for women. So this also puts us a question: why aren't we expanding and opening up the platform for women? Secondly, looking into what are the programs which many of the students who are pursuing engineering and technological programs in India, who are women, what is that they prefer? So, if you see the chart here, these are all data which has been taken from the AICTI report, which is the All India Council for Technical Education, which is the supreme regulatory body for technical education in India. You will see that the most preferred stream of education which majority of women, female engineer pursuing students pick up is engineering and technology. And if you see all other streams, it has management, it has design, it has hotel management, MCA, pharmacy, architecture and planning, applied arts and crafts. So you see the orange color graph shoots up to a large extent, trying to tell you that there are female who are very much interested in taking up engineering and technological programs. Now, doing a comparison between the male and female ratio, you will see that there is a stark difference. You will see majority of the courses right from the past 5 years. You will see that men have been dominating the engineering and technological programs in India. But what is most interesting for me is it's not that the women are not pitching in, it's also that the women are almost more than 50%. So if you see the enrollment status, this chart basically shows us the enrollment status amongst the engineering programs and technological programs in India, and it gives a comparison between male and female. So if you see that the female portion almost shows half of it, right? So that means what? 50% of female enrollment is happening in India. So there is a desire for engineering and technological programs amongst women in India. What we need to provide right now, I believe, is a direction and platform for these women engineers to explore and excel in additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing government has been very proactive in including additive manufacturing in the industry 4.0, where we give out a policy document. So under that, your robotics, your additive manufacturing has also been a pioneering stream. So there have been engineering colleges, your technological colleges who are serious about pursuing education, pursuing their courses in additive manufacturing, to provide diploma courses in additive manufacturing. What we felt was lacking was there hasn't been any platform to do this in a very structured manner. And that is where we thought, for women especially, we need a platform where they can come, not just pursue their program, but just have a deliberation, but just create awareness about the technology, talk about different case studies which exist. So these deliberations is what excites these female engineers to pursue a career in additive manufacturing, because IW3DP believes that the future is additive. So the inspiration to start IW3DP actually, emerged from a women in 3D printing, because I have been the Bangalore ambassador for women in 3D printing right from 2016 onwards, and Swati recently joined me on board, and we have been looking into the ecosystem which is there for additive manufacturing in Bangalore. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any specific platform which pursues only female engineers into the stream. So that is where we thought, especially if you want to go ahead for policy advocacy, if we want to tell the government of India saying that, this is a program which needs to be included in the curriculum, this is a skill which needs to be imparted to in your future engineers of the nation, we thought there needs to be a platform, and that is how IW3DP emerged. So, as I said, I have been the Bangalore ambassador for women in 3D printing. I am still the Bangalore ambassador for women in 3D printing. The inception of IW3DP happened then. So please do visit our website, which is www.iw3dp.com. So this has been our team. So we have three members who have been leading the entire IW3DP team. I myself, who come from an economics background, Dr. Suma Singh and Dr. Sangeeta Pandey have been directors of two different verticals under IW3DP. So what has been our major activities? There has been, first thing, we look into technological awareness and adoption about the technology. We've also been successful in setting up 3D labs, and we are very serious about pursuing skill development and training centers, especially in engineering colleges. And lastly, we also want to nurture women entrepreneurial spirit by seed funding some of the innovative ideas in additive manufacturing. So under IW3DP, we do have three verticals under which we are working on. The first vertical talks about Makers Lab, 3D Makers Lab, where we install and run the 3D printing laboratories at the school level. This is for 8th and 9th standard specifically. And that is where they learn to design, they learn to print their own, kind of toys. We don't explore a lot in that space because we just want to introduce the technology and create excitement amongst students there. Skill development and training centers is where we are establishing in engineering colleges. We have been successful in having institutional association with almost 5 top engineering colleges in Bangalore, and they have been very upcoming and also welcoming in order to open skill development centers in their institutions, only to nurture female engineers and excel them in additive manufacturing. My last one will be Pitch 3D, where we are kind of hoping to come up with new products, come up with new patents, come up with new machines where we can help the women entrepreneurs through seed funding and mentorship. Through the phase of what we have done till now, some of the challenges which we have seen with respect to the industry is definitely the cost of equipment and material is expensive. There has been a lot of innovation. There has been a lot of new indigenous 3D printers which have come into picture. But in spite of that, institutions, when they have to invest in these equipments, they do give a second thought. So that has been our biggest challenge of, right now what we are looking at the model is where we are trying to collaborate with technological partners where they can come on board, where displaying their technology, displaying their machines, and over the long run they are able to get back their investment on the machine, because at the school level, if you see, it becomes mandatory. So for 8th and 9th standard, it's mostly like a mandatory program, a workshop kind of a thing which happens for all the students. So that's how they kind of get their return on investment. So mostly we are bridging this gap through our technological partners. Secondly, the biggest challenge has been, especially when we go to the service sector, you will see there has been a lack of formal AM standards in India. There hasn't been anything like ASTM which exists internationally, which kind of certifies the products and processes. That doesn't exist in India. So for any company to kind of, bring a linkage between the skill development center and using it as a, service center, that has been a challenge, because they do want certified products. So if certified products needs to be given, then there must be a body which will be certifying all these products. That is where there is lacking in India. A cohesive ecosystem for entire AM industry in India is lacking, though there has been organization called Additive Manufacturing Society of India, which has been trying to bring all the AM producers, service providers and consumers on a single platform. But the challenge has been there, and for female especially, we don't find any kind of a platform which exists, and that is how our IW3DP came into picture. Lack of skilled manpower, obviously a very obvious truth, because additive manufacturing as a program has been creating a buzz right now, and it hasn't been. Maybe if I say a past 5 years, if we go back, it wasn't so welcomingly, it was not accepted. But right now, all the engineering colleges are welcoming the move of skilling their future engineers on the additive manufacturing. So maybe in the past next 10 years, we might see this challenge which is getting addressed there. Opportunities are huge. That is what we realized, because when we went around speaking to people, we realized that there has been a lot of awareness which is there amongst users, but there hasn't been a way, a link which has been created between the two. So the healthcare sector, for example, we have fantastic implants which have been produced and which have also been used. Anatomized 3D, which has been headed by Ms. Firoza Kothari, has been doing exceptional work under this sector. We've also been extremely, progressing with respect to bio 3D printing. So we have had in Coimbatore, for example, in Tamil Nadu, there is an institute called Sri Chitratarunal Institute, who have been fantastic in bioprinting kidney, for example. So the research and progress has been fantastic in health sector, especially. Some of the other sectors which I've highlighted, amongst the all the booming sector right now, what I see is the construction sector, because much of the time we see that the labor with respect to construction sector is becoming a challenge with respect to India. And recently, L&T, which is the supreme body, one of the construction giant which exists in India, has signed up their MOU in order to 3D print some of their houses, and government is also looking forward to kind of having 3D printed houses, especially under their welfare schemes such as your Awas Yojana, where cost-effective houses have been built for people who fall below the poverty line. So, COBOD is one of the industry which has been making strides in construction sector in India. Even I think the L&T agreement has also been made, so which shows that people have been open about accepting to the idea in the construction sector. Aerospace, of course, ISRO, for example, Indian Space Research Organization, has their own 3D printing unit, and they have been exploring and welcoming with respect to new kind of ways in which cost reduction can happen. Again, the biggest challenge comes here with respect to certification. So there has been strides which AMSI has been doing. Additive Manufacturing Society of India, especially with the regulatory bodies, have been progressing in order to bring certification for parts which are in aerospace, so that there is certain kind of demand which kinds of exists for service providers in India. So amongst the all, one of the other exciting feature is also amongst the consumer group, because arts, toy making, this has been seen on a boom. So jewelry making, which is also extremely crucial in Indian market. So there have been organizations which have been trying to 3D print jewelry, gold jewelry, with respect to consumer goods industry. And the fetish for gold jewelry in India is huge, so the market is huge here. So that has also kind of been seeing a astonishingly progressing field. So this is my small kind of presentation of what the need is there with respect to Indian market, and why we kind of started off with talking about IW3DP. And we are actively looking for collaborations. We are looking for technological collaborations. We are looking for corporate members who can help us. We are looking for active mentorship from the global AM community, because we believe that the AM industry is thriving. But as Bowler's report itself suggests, the growth in AM industry is expected to be around 22% year on year. So it is a booming market. So we do want to be ready when the boom happens in India. And please feel free to drop in an email to me if at all, if you feel that we are doing something which is worthwhile your time and effort. So we would like to collaborate. We would like to, also give back and have a win-win situation amongst all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kavya, for your wonderful presentation. I mean, it was really insightful. You can stop sharing the screen,
Yes,
Kavya.
I was.
So I feel I really connected with your presentation so much because being in India, being the ambassador for women in 3D printing from last 4 years, and the kind of the challenges which you mentioned that are so relatable to me. And since I also work with a lot of underserved community in India, where I mean, with the Art of Making Foundation, me, Shweta Thapa, we have been
Yes,
trying to bridge the gap when it comes to providing the education, at least a basic education, at least an awareness for that matter, is so, I mean, needed. I just have one question. How do you kind of mobilize, or how do you mobilize your operations, or you are just restricted to one place? And I just wanted to understand more of the operations part. Like, these are the challenges when you have to reach out to certain beneficiaries. How do you do that? Because in certain areas there will not be 3D printers available. There won't be any internet available, as you see in India. So when it comes to tier one cities, okay, we can definitely arrange certain workshops, and we have trainers on board. But when it comes to certain locations, I mean, how do you guys are planning to reach out to those beneficiaries?
right. So, Swati, as you rightly said, there could be a challenge when it comes to execution bit of it, especially when it comes to the operational bit of it. So that's why we have streamlined it to say that we will go ahead for institutional partners first. So the institutions come forward to kind of say that we do want to join hands, and amongst the institution, we do have an IW3DP faculty coordinator. We have a student coordinator as well. So the faculty coordinator establishes a contact with IW3DP. We train her to become the facilitator for the entire 30-hour program which we are offering at the beginner level. So for the 30-hour program, the faculty themselves kind of do it. So we give a training to the facilitator. So the facilitator go and delivers. Now coming to your machines, much of the engineering colleges especially are have their own 3D printing centers. So if you see, they have their center for excellence, which have been funded by Government of India under their Department of Science and Technology. So there has been a lot of funding which is coming from Government of India for setting up Center for Excellences in additive manufacturing. The problem where is they do have the infrastructure, but the expertise is where there is lacking, because the skilled manpower is a big question mark. So what we do, we have technological partnership with Additive Minds Academy right now, which is the EOS venture. So the EOS venture basically kind of trains the facilitators under your engineering institutes. So they basically go back to their engineering colleges. They schedule their 30-hour program for the beginner course. Once when the student completes the beginner course, then we have the intermediate and the advanced programs, where is the revenue generation for IW3DP. And that is where they come to our centers. So we have our training centers which are there. So they come to the center for intermediate training and to the advanced training, because not entire lot would want to pursue a career in additive manufacturing, and we don't want to force anybody. So by the time they come to intermediate, they would have already had a base understanding about what is additive manufacturing, and they choose whether they want to pursue it or not. So certification goes on then. Once they finish the advanced level, we also have a job facilitation which we do, because we have tie-ups with corporates, and the corporates are looking for female engineers, especially because we have two of the organizations which have come forward, big organizations which have come forward and said that I want to open up a factory exclusively for women, which is run by women, which is also operated by women. Now this is very welcoming for us, but unfortunately the gap is we are not able to give them recruits. So we have gone one step behind of training them and then facilitating them.
Wow, wow. I completely relate to you because, yeah, industries are ready to
Yes,
have skilled female, but we don't have skilled female. So that's
exactly.
what we have been trying to do is like, okay, train the females, and once they are ready, they do their internships with the companies, and then companies kind of they hire them. And that's how, I mean, it is the whole purpose of, I mean, women in 3D printing, to bring more women to the community and to the additive manufacturing field. I mean, I'm glad that you guys are doing a great job in India. And I will just wrap up with one, quick question, that how has been the government's support or the policies around the AM, additive manufacturing in India? Has it been helpful? Or what are the government initiatives that you have come across which are kind of women friendly, and they can, pull in more women to additive manufacturing domain? How has been the scenario
Uh,
overall? I just want to know.
I mean, I will be there will be lack of words for me here, because if you look at the regulatory bit right now, and if you're asking me exclusively for women, has there been anything which the government has specifically spoken about? Unfortunately, not. Because even if you go through the national strategy of for additive manufacturing, which has been 1 month back, which has been released, there hasn't been mention about anything pertaining to exclusively women. But at least the government is ready to pull in some amount of money to create national centers. So there has been a national additive manufacturing center, NCAM, which is there in Telangana, which has been funded by government of India in association with Telangana government. So they have been doing fantastic work with respect to building entrepreneurial spirit amongst AM community in India. But apart from that, exclusive subsidies for women entrepreneurship who are in additive manufacturing, it is lacking. Maybe
All right.
we could
All right.
suggest as a forum, we could go and make a representation saying that there is a need for some kind of perks to be
Yes,
given by the government. So that would maybe
absolutely.
one of our
Absolutely.
agenda as well.
Yes, so I do agree with you, Kavya, and thank you so much for being a speaker for our economics track, and thank you for being in woman in business for us. With that, I